The purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform. It is no substitute for professional care by your doctor or your qualified healthcare professional. Never disregard or delay professional medical advice because of something you've heard on this podcast or in any linked material. Guests who speak on this podcast express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions. Dr. Shirley neither endorses nor opposes any particular opinion discussed on this podcast. The views expressed on this podcast have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, practice, institution, or other entity with which Dr. Shirley may be affiliated.
Welcome to Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty. This podcast is curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD, as the definitive source of holistic wellness through beauty.
Hey there, it's Dr. Shirley. Welcome to 15 Minutes of FAB, a segment of the Forever Fab podcast where I review products, services, and experiences in 15 minutes or less. If you don't have time to tune into my full-length podcast, then check out 15 Minutes of FAB. So good. Some have considered it truth and beauty, plastic surgery secrets, or frankly, just as a nerdier academic take on wellness and beauty. Consider it what you may. My aim is to engage you as a credible and authoritative voice in many, dare I say most, if not all aspects of beauty and wellness, and a little bit of fashion too. And this includes products, wellness services, technologies, new scientific research, and innovations in plastic surgery. And again, a little bit of fashionable trends. As the founder of Holistic Plastic Surgery, my approach to beauty is through a lens of wellness, and that wellness is grounded in science. It is backed by my medical study and research. It is strengthened by clinical experience, and it is bolstered by my surgical training, where I use principles and techniques of plastic surgery and help bring it all together under one fabulous holistic umbrella. I feel uniquely qualified to talk with you about beauty, wellness, aesthetics, plastic surgery, and a few fashion trends here and there, as well as products and services within those spaces, not only because of my extensive training and expansive background, but also because I'm one of you. Many of the human issues around aging and being a fierce, fab person, as well as an agent for positive change, right? I live these too. So you're not alone. Together, we can help the world to become a more beautiful, forever fab place. So that said, let's get started. As part of my philosophy of holistic plastic surgery, where I believe that beauty emanates from within, wellness plays an integral role in my practice because, in my opinion, beauty is truly a holistic phenomenon. In the new year, I'm launching Top Tips, or maybe it's Top Fab Tips. I haven't decided yet. It's a series of beauty how-tos in quick, easy-to-read digital products. Look for these top tips on foreverfabpodcast.com and also on elementsandgraces.com. So, as a treat for you, here's an example of what you'll get with Top Tips. Today, I'm talking about winter skincare essentials from head to toe, part 2, for men. Gentlemen, with the change of season, your skin and hair care routine should change to adjust to the cold weather. I've discussed previously what the cold can do and how the decreased temperature, the loss of humidity, and the friction from multiple layers and irritation from your clothing, what that can do to your skin and your hair and your nails. So in this top tips for men, I'll just dish a bit about some of those things individually and what you can do to stay healthy and, of course, fabulous during the winter months. Your hair. Healthy scalp leads to healthy hair. Wearing hats during the winter may actually lead to dry scalp and dry hair. So after washing your hair, you may want to apply a leave-in conditioning treatment and try to do that maybe 2 or 3 times per week, preferably a treatment that helps the hair to retain moisture and prevent dryness and flaking. On top of that, before you go out into the cold air, try to make sure your hair is not sopping wet and that it's as dry as possible using minimal heat settings on your dryer. Because, of course, the hot heat from the hot air, rather, I should say, from the dryer can also dry your scalp. Facial skin. With the cooler temperatures and the windy conditions, the lower humidity, and all that good stuff we have to look forward to in the upcoming winter months, you may want to switch your facial moisturizer from a lighter lotion or a gel, which is typically alcohol-based, to a thicker cream that does not contain drying ingredients. Now, if you're not an ingredients detective, that's fine, but typically you want to use either a balm or a cream during the winter months as opposed to a gel or a lotion. Also, although the sun may not shine as often in the winter, and I know that can lead to other psychological things, but UV rays may still make their way to cause sun damage and premature aging. Now, I love the sun, and definitely the sun in the winter months helps to elevate my mood, but I also know that too much unprotected sun can lead to skin damage and premature aging. So mix your sunscreen with your facial moisturizer for UVA and UVB protection. Or if you're a purist, put your moisturizer on first, and then the last layer will be your sunscreen. I tend to do both, either depending on my mood, time, etc. As long as you get it on, you're good. What about your neck and chest? These parts of the body are often forgotten in the daily skincare routine. So what I would suggest is that you extend the application of your facial moisturizer and your sunscreen onto your neck, and for some, onto, the top of your chest. Some people like to show a little bit of cleavage, in which case, yes, extend that skincare product onto the top of your chest. And, in the winter, maybe you're wearing more turtlenecks and sweaters and crew necks, so you're not exposing your décolletage. So extend that moisturizer onto your neck, or the upper neck, and definitely, maybe your upper chest or not. So after you extend the application of your moisturizer and sunscreen onto these areas, know that wrinkles in the neck, where many men complain of early signs of aging, sometimes those can be managed with, going a little bit of extra with a plastic surgeon or your dermatologist. And sometimes those wrinkles in the neck can be managed with Botox, Xeomin, Dysport, or the other neuromodulator du jour, those injections. Or if you're really having like a serious sagging neck and wrinkle and skin laxity issue, you may want to discuss a neck lift with your plastic surgeon. But I digress. Let's talk about your hands. Colds, flus, and now COVID can be year-round, but particularly prevalent in the winter months. On top of that, we're using hand sanitizer and washing our hands frequently. So reduce the chances of getting infected through your hands or having a problem with dry hands that crack, and that could lead to issues. So reduce those chances by using good hand hygiene, washing your hands as frequently as necessary, but also moisturizing as frequently as necessary as you wash. What I do is that I keep the hand soap and the hand lotion right next to the water faucet, so that way I don't forget. So after hand washing, apply hand moisturizer, typically with sunscreen. But if you don't have a hand moisturizer with sunscreen, then a hand moisturizer will do. And this will keep your hands, healthy and looking good. And that's welcoming of a handshake or a soft touch. What about your abs? Yep. One of the best ways to prevent your body from going into hibernation and storing stubborn belly fat is by maintaining exercise routines throughout the year. Winter, spring, summer, fall, it doesn't matter. The only difference is that maybe some of your exercises will be done outdoors, right? If you run outdoors as opposed to on a treadmill. Either way, exercise will not only help keep excess pounds away, but will also help boost your immune system to fight winter bugs. Eating well, the first rule of beauty, also increases your metabolism. So do your part by increasing your intake of whole plant-based foods such as green leafy vegetables for their fiber and protein, and vibrantly colored fruit for their vitamins and antioxidants. So while we would all love to have a whole foods, non-processed diet, that isn't always feasible. So for those diets that are lacking in those whole, fresh, plant-based, non-processed foods, supplements may actually help to be a complement, although not a substitute for a healthy diet. What about the skin on your body? Touchably soft skin is appealing in any season, right? Male, female, cis, transgender, fluid, whatever you identify as, soft, healthy skin is attractive. Skin is your best accessory, even as it is vitally important as an organ because of the multiple functions and roles that it plays in protection and the health of your wholeness. So exfoliate the skin of your body in the shower with a loofah and try to do that at least once to twice weekly. And then follow up with a body moisturizer daily or a body wash containing rich emollients or humectants for added smoothness. You can also use a body wash that contains an alpha hydroxy acid because what those alpha hydroxy acids will do is that they will chemically exfoliate or they'll slough off the non-viable or dead skin cells. And that's just as important. You can slather things on your skin, but you also have to help your skin get rid of the stuff that it doesn't need. And our skin naturally sort of exfoliates or goes through a renewal process every about 3 weeks. So if you are able to assist your body in doing that, then your skin will always sort of look new and fresh and renewed, right? But that involves gentle exfoliation, not just layering on product after product. Finally, we get to the bottom of all this. The bottom of all of this winter skincare for men from head to toe. Let's talk about the feet. The elements may be particularly harsh on the feet, despite wearing boots or snowshoes. So prevent cracked heels, because cracked heels may pose a risk for infections, believe it or not. Keep your feet clean, keep them dry, and this is very subjective. Some people may choose to keep their feet moisturized. I moisturize my whole body daily from head to probably to ankle. I don't particularly care to moisturize my feet because then once I put my socks or my hosiery and then my shoes on, my toes kind of feel a little slippery and I don't like that. So what I will do is, of course, if I remember, I will at least put on, a little foot moisturizer in the evening. And if I don't do the foot moisturizer in the evening, then I'll just do a dab of oil and then I will add that oil to my cuticles. So there are ways around the slippery toes, but generally speaking, you should be looking at your feet daily and making sure they're not overly dry and cracked because that can lead to problems. Those are the top tips for winter skincare for men. What do you think? This concludes this episode of 15 Minutes of FAB. If you like this episode of 15 Minutes of FAB on the Forever Fab podcast, please share it and subscribe to the feed. Listen to past episodes or check out what's coming up next on foreverfabpodcast.com. And if you enjoy listening to the Forever Fab podcast, including 15 Minutes of Fab, get more audio and visuals with a membership through Patreon. Choose Gold, Platinum, or Diamond tier for premium added content, special co-host lifestyle videos, branded merchandise, and more by visiting patreon.com/foreverfab. And if you're the founder or represent a beauty brand and want to be featured on an episode of the Forever Fab podcast segment of 15 Minutes of Fab, send me some stuff. Visit foreverfabpodcast.com and fill out the contact form. If you are a stylist or fashion designer, I invite you as well. Please visit foreverfabpodcast.com and fill out the contact form. For general holistic beauty tips or to set up an appointment with me to discuss your personalized options for leveling up your beauty, Go to elementsandgraces.com to sign up for my newsletter and purchase your top tips, coming soon. For an online e-consultation on time, anytime, and on your time, visit clicklift.com for your wellness, plastic surgery, and beauty questions on the go. That's click, click-lift, L-F-I-L-I-F-T, click-lift.com. It's time for the elevated house call. Jet Set Beauty RX offers beauty on-call services near your home or other domicile, delivering beauty in the privacy of a medically equipped mobile aesthetics unit. Reserve at jetsetbeautyrx.com. Thank you for listening to this week's Forever Fab podcast episode of 15 Minutes of Fab. Until next time, stay beautiful inside and out, and stay forever fab.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty, curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD. Live beautifully and help make the world a more beautiful place.